Welcome to Parenting Unscripted. I am your host, Katie Collette. A big thank you to Norfolk Public Schools for sponsoring this episode. The topic that we are laser focused on today is car seat safety. And who better to talk to about this very important topic than Ariane Matoni, known as That Car Seat Mom. Ariane, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Katie, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. This is such an important topic, near and dear to my heart. I had a friend give me a little correction when I was a new mom, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But when you and I were chatting about this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what everybody needs to hear about. So first of all, you are a child, I want to make sure I have the full title, Child Passenger Safety Technician.
Yep.
Can you please explain what exactly that is and how do you get certified for that?
So a child passenger safety technician is somebody who educates parents and caregivers on the importance of car seat safety and how to install car seats properly 100% of the time. I got certified 8 years ago from Virginia Beach. They had a class, and you can go to safekids.org and find a class near you if you want to become a technician as well.
And why is this something that you are so passionate about?
When I had my first child, I had no idea about car seat safety. Absolutely nothing. And a friend actually reached out to me and was like, hey, these are some of the things you need to know. And I went on Facebook and there were some groups and I just learned. And then when my second was born, it was kind of pedal to the metal type of situation. And I was really passionate about it. And I was like, sweet, they have a class coming up. And I signed up and I got a spot and I became a technician.
And the rest is history, as they say. I do have to share because, listen, everyone, Ariane shared with me, she was like, you know, we met before. I was like, really, when? And it was in the birthing class, the birthing prep class 12 years ago. We were pregnant at the same time. And, you know, they didn't necessarily, the focus wasn't on car seat safety in that class. But now we both have 12-year-olds. And then I quit. I was a quitter and you were like, let's do this again. So how old is your second child now?
So she'll be 10 in November.
Oh my gosh. That's so fun. You have two girls.
I do.
Amazing. I love that we have kids around the same age. That's so cool.
Too.
I can't believe we took that class together. That's so wild. And I love that you've really taken the car seat safety situation. I want to say situation, but issue, the importance of that, and you've really run with it. And you've done so by creating a nonprofit. Can you tell us about that?
So after I became a technician, I made a Facebook page, and it just kind of felt informal, and I wanted to put more information out there. So I made That Car Seat Mom, and I went through like all of the things to make a website and, you know, look nice and make it more presentable towards parents and caregivers. And so I have, you know, my Facebook page and my websites and stuff. So
what would you say? So the name of the organization, as you said, is That Car Seat Mom. What would you say is the ultimate goal?
Honestly, to reduce car seat deaths in Virginia and just put information out there for parents and caregivers, because sometimes you might hear something online or see something online and it might not be correct. And if it's from somebody who's a professional and knows their information, you're going to be correct 100% of the time.
We always say, especially in journalism, check your sources. And now we're trying to teach members of the community, check your sources. So it's nice to be able to have a place like That Car Seat Mom where people can, you know, check and say, you know, I heard this. Is that correct? I think that's so important to have.
It is.
Let's talk about what sets you apart from others who focus on child passenger safety. What is the difference between That Car Seat Mom and what others might do for the cause?
Yeah, so I travel all over Hampton Roads, up to Newport News, west to like Suffolk, deep Suffolk, down to Moyock, and then I travel all over the, you know, city here in
The whole metro, basically.
Yeah. And so I go to parents and caregivers because sometimes they might not be able to travel to me because of an issue that they're having with the car seat. And that I think that's what sets me apart.
Yeah. What a gift too, especially when you're a new parent, you are exhausted.
Yes.
And the car seat obviously has to be installed properly before you leave the hospital, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know how to properly restrain your child.
Exactly.
And it is so hard to get out of your house. You're exhausted after you have a new baby. So for you to be able to go to somebody, really, that is truly the ultimate gift.
Yeah.
I know that for your organization, you have 3 tiers of help. What are the 3 tiers that people can expect?
So I have new parent education, which is, you're still pregnant and I can come to you and your house and sit you down and go over all of the things of your car seat.
Yep.
And then I'll teach you how to properly install it. And then you'll be the last one to install it so that you know how to install it. I have continuing education, which is, hey, you have had 2 or 3 kids and you're, got another one on the way.
Right.
And you're like, it's been 10 years. So here we go. And here's the things that have changed. And then I have full family, which is whoever is transporting your child also needs to know how to install a car seat. So grandpa, grandma, aunts, uncles, your best friend, they all need to know how to install a car seat so that if they're in a crash, they know what to do.
That is so true. When I was reading about it on your website, I was like, okay, so full family, you're talking mom, dad, brother, sister. And when you said that about the grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, epiphany, yes, they absolutely need to know that as well. On the other side of the break, I want to take a deeper dive into each of those consultation tiers. And I want to talk to you about some of the top tips that you give families and some of the most common mistakes that families make. We all want to get this right. We know that it is so important. So again, we will be right back with Ariane Matoni, that car seat mom, talking about car seat safety. Stick around.
Whether you're already working in education or aspiring to, then say yes to NPS. Norfolk Public Schools are currently hiring in the following positions. NPS offers the highest salaries and sign-on bonuses in Hampton Roads, plus a work lifestyle you'll love. Say yes to NPS.
Welcome back to Parenting Unscripted. I am your host, Katie Collette. Today we are talking about car seat safety with Ariane Matoni of the nonprofit called That Car Seat Mom. And before we went to the break, Ariane, we were talking about the consultation tiers you have. Let's really hone in on those now. So when you're talking to the new parents for the new parent consultation, what would you say are the top 3 safety tips that you give them?
So for the new parent, always read your manual because, you open the box, take out the car seat, and they're like, oh, okay, great. And then you kind of glance through it and then you throw it away. That is your holy grail.
Right.
So you want that. Don't believe everything you see online. And, there's misinformation all over the internet. So seeing a professional is key. Don't think that you're a professional. Yeah. Just because you've read the manual, you still might have issues with your vehicle and then the car seat.
I got you. So what do should people practice? You might feel silly putting a baby doll in the car seat before you have your own baby, but how do you recommend they try to get it right before baby even arrives?
Yeah, definitely. I always, if you have like a stuffed animal, that is perfect.
Yeah.
It gets you to, practice buckling your child in, and, that harness is super important.
Yes.
And so practice makes perfect.
See, the second consultation tier that you have is the continuing education consultation. What would you say are some of the most common mistakes that families make when you address them in this tier?
So if you're a family of multiple children, you might move a child too soon to the next stage. And, that is super scary because crashes happen. And if
Yes.
your child is in the wrong stage for their age, they might get hurt. So always, you know, go to the stage that they're supposed to. Again, read your manual.
Yeah.
That is super important. Because again, that tells you everything about your car seat.
What do you say to families who say, well, my child, I know that it says that they're supposed to be 2 or however old now they're supposed to be before they turn the car seat around.
Yeah.
There's an age rather than a size. And there
Yeah.
are some who have much larger babies.
Yeah.
And you feel like your baby is crammed. I know our son was a giant from birth to now. So
Yeah.
he was always really crammed in his car seat. Do they need to stay turned around facing back even if they're not the right age?
If you fit the criterias and your child is 2, that's fine.
Yeah.
After 2 is parental choice.
Yeah.
So,
But should they try to stay
yes,
turned
definitely.
until that point? Yeah.
Yep.
It's tough to see when you do have a giant baby
Yeah.
and you're like, man, they seem really crammed. But I mean, really, they're okay.
Yeah.
Right? If they
Yep.
face that way, that's
Yeah.
the safest for their bones
Yep.
and for their bodies, right?
Yes, definitely.
Let's talk about that third consultation tier, the family consultation. I think that is absolutely huge.
Yes.
What, kind of walk us through top to bottom what you focus on with the grandparents, the
Yeah.
aunts, uncles, cousins.
Yeah. If you're traveling and mom or dad are away on vacation and the grandparents or uncles and aunts are taking your child, they need to know as well, because they don't always have that child. So
Right.
they might buckle in the car seat incorrectly and then they get into a crash and then the child gets hurt.
Right.
So education is key for everyone.
Absolutely. What would you say are the ages or stages of life where parents need to make the most adjustments when it comes to their children in car seats?
Honestly, prenatal is super important. A study in 2016 showed that 93% of all expecting parents had the highest misuse rate.
Oh,
And so my goal is to get them early enough that they don't have that gigantic statistic of misuse.
right. And it truly saves their lives.
It really does.
Like you've done all the work to get the baby here and be healthy.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that they are restrained in that car seat
Yeah.
properly. Absolutely. Before this interview, you shared with me that our big kids, ages 8 to 12, have the highest number. We shared with all of us that the highest number of crash fatalities. Is that mainly because they're not properly restrained, ages 8 to 12?
Yeah. Parents think that once they hit like first or second grade, they don't need a car seat or a booster, when in fact they really do. Some kids are saying, oh, I don't want to be in a baby seat, but
Right.
that's to help you, be safe in a car crash.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there ways that you have found maybe if kids are like that to get them motivated to still sit in that seat or make it
Yeah.
something that they like?
Yeah. With my own children, I'm just honest with them. I tell them, hey, this is for your safety. And, I make it fun as well and be like, all right, well, let's go in, see what you can see over the windows now.
Yes.
Because you're boosted up. So
Yeah, that is helpful when you can say, okay, well, if you're not sitting in that booster seat, take a look out the window and what
Yeah.
can you see? That's a good point. And then you
Yeah.
put them in the seat and all right, now look out
Yeah.
the window. What else can you see?
yeah.
Especially living in an area like this too, where like there are so many beautiful things
Yes.
to see outside the windows that kids are interested in. So that's why you do what you do. You can
True
remind the
facts.
kids to take that peek over.
Yeah.
I know that, when I was a new mom, I'd always take pictures of my kiddo. Of course, we were parked or in the driveway. And I distinctly remember I took a picture of my son and he was little and it was the cutest picture. And my friend Emily, who is actually a doula now, she's a friend of mine from elementary school, middle school, high school. She sent me a message and she said, hey, Liam is so cute. I just need to let you know that his harness is too low. And it was by his belly button. And the harness, I learned from Emily, needs to be right here on the chest. And she's like, I hope you're not upset for me telling you that. And I responded to her and I was like, I am a rookie parent. This is the information that I need to know. I was so grateful that she did that. And then I can, kind of share the kindness, but, pay it forward a bit. Cause I do that with my friends too. Do you find that, it's tough for people sometimes to be like, hey, you're doing that wrong?
It really is. And in this day of age of like influencers and stuff, you see the gamut of misuse. And it's like, do I want to get screamed at or do I let it go? But ultimately, it's about that child and, making sure that they're safe. So I know that Paris Hilton posted some stuff on her social media when she had her children. And, people were in the comments, hey, Paris, you've got some stuff wrong. And a technician by the name of Jamie Grayson actually reached out to her and they got it all taken care of.
And you know what I love, though? She listened. Rather than not doing it, she listened because she knew it was the right thing for her kids.
Yeah.
It's all coming from a place of love. When we get to the other side of the break, we're going to talk much more about car seat safety with our guest today, Ariane Mattoni, known as that car seat mom. We will be right back. Welcome back to Parenting Unscripted. I'm your host, Katie Collette, joined once again by Ariane Mattoni, that car seat mom. So we are going to keep talking now about the car seat safety. And what would you say to someone with a car seat who says, I'm just going to go to my fire station or police station and they can install it for me?
Yeah. My best advice is make sure that they're actually certified. People will be like, yeah, I'll help you, and not be certified. And then God forbid you're in a crash and your child gets injured. It goes back to where you got the car seat installed.
Right. And I did learn when I was a new mom that that there are certain fire departments that are certified.
That is true.
So that was really helpful to be able to find out. And really, I just called the fire department closest to my house and said, are you certified to do this? And they said, yeah, bring it on over. And they were so wonderful about it. I mean, firefighters are amazing humans anyway, but the fact that they're willing and able to do that for you is great.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's great advice to remind people, check first to make sure that they are certified. If someone signs up for your services, let's walk us through what the initial consultation looks like and what their experience will be.
Yeah. So if I get a message on my Facebook page or my email website, I ask them, what's your vehicle? How much does your child weigh? What's your current car seat situation? Because all of that plays into key. Hey, does this child need a new car seat? If they've outgrown that, here's these recommendations for a new car seat within your price and your, that will fit your vehicle.
So would you say that the initial consultation is through a message to you?
Yes.
And then once you get that information, what is the next step? At what point do you actually go to their home or do you start talking on the phone?
So after I get all of that information, I asked what fits their schedule so that I can come out. And if it fits my schedule, I'll head on out and, we have that tier consultation depending on what they need.
When you get there and obviously they're going to let you know their vehicle first. When you get to their home, what are some of the main things that you're going to do with them there? Because you say that really the most important thing is to read that manual. Will you go over it with them or how does that work?
Yes, I go to the house or, apartment and I check to see how their car seat is set up first before doing anything. And then if I see anything wrong with it, we'll go over that. And then I'll teach them how to properly install that car seat.
Gotcha. I just think that that's such a relief when you have someone that you can trust who you know knows how to do that. Because people, especially when you become a new parent, there are stresses with parenting all the time. But when you're a brand new parent, you're learning everything from scratch. It doesn't matter if you've been a babysitter or around kids your whole life. There, when it is your own child, all of a sudden you're like, wait, do I know this? Do I know how to do it correctly?
Yeah.
And then I think when, when we're pregnant, we start to develop the mom brain.
Yes.
And suddenly you're reading so many manuals that you're like, am I reading that right?
Yep.
Do you find like when you go there that you can almost just help provide that clarity?
Yeah, definitely. Because there's things that they might have missed.
Yeah.
That is super important. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And I feel like I've said that so many times on the show, but with parenting, it's true. Sometimes you just don't know the stuff until someone is kind enough to point it out to you.
Yeah.
Is there a cost for your services?
No, I'm a free service. I work off of donations.
Mm-hmm.
Those donations go towards events that I've been invited to, gas from traveling all over, business cards, and like anything that I need to print out.
Right. Well, that makes sense. And, free is our favorite price, but it's great. It's great to be like, hey, a donation.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt, though, to certainly help the cause. You're working. I said originally that you are a nonprofit, and that's because I'm saying it to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So you're not exactly a nonprofit yet.
No,
you're working
not
towards
yet.
it.
Yes, I am. My goal is to become a nonprofit so that I can, provide car seats to people that actually need them.
Yeah.
I know there's, programs in the area for that, but like for me, I can go and be like, all right, this is from me to you, and this is from the, my heart.
Yeah.
So that's my ultimate goal.
I think that is absolutely wonderful. There are people who want, I mean, everyone wants their children to be safe, but they just can't afford those car seats sometimes. Yeah. So I think that that's really incredible. So we're speaking it into reality now. We're speaking it into happening that you will become a nonprofit.
Yeah.
How long will a family have your services once they sign up for them?
So I tell parents, once you're with me, I'm there until the very end. You can literally call me, 4 months down the road and be like, hey, I need you to help me. Or a year or two down the road, hey, my child switched to a new car seat. I need you to come and help me. So I'm available whenever they need me.
Yeah. When do you say, so let's talk about when they have the harness on. And I always go like this because I think of what my friend told me. But when your baby has the harness on, when do you switch from harness to the actual seatbelt?
So once they outgrow that, harnessed car seat.
Is the 5
It's
point?
the 5-point harness. Yes. You'll go to a seat belt. But if your child's not mature enough to just be in a booster, you can do a high back booster. It's kind of like a training period type of situation. And then they'll get used to the seat belt.
Do you find that kids will need, I know like when we first switched our son and we did have him on the right level, so the seatbelt was hitting properly, but there were still times where he's like, I don't like how this feels.
Yeah.
So we got like a little felt thing that Velcros around it. Do you find people need that more often with the kids, or
so
okay?
It just depends. If it didn't come with the car seat, we shouldn't use it. So some car seats do have the harness covers.
Yeah, the softness.
But it just really depends on the car seat itself.
Yeah. So we got about 30 seconds. Where can people learn more about that car seat mom?
So I have social media. I have Facebook and Instagram, and I have a website.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, you just met Ariane Mattoni, someone who is dedicating her life to making sure that kids make it safely everywhere they need to go. We sure appreciate you for taking the time today, Ariane. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we hope that you learned something from this episode of Parenting Unscripted that you can apply to your life or your friends' lives. Remember, you can watch new episodes of Parenting Unscripted every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock right here on Wavy Plus. Thank you so much for joining us today for Parenting Unscripted. You be good.